Losers back home. That's what foreigners moving to Da Nang, Vietnam are being called. It's a label that's catching on across Southeast Asia, in places that are gentrifying because of foreigners moving in, where people are struggling with the higher cost of living and some foreigners behaving disrespectfully.
Yeah, you'll notice a lot of bald white guys in Thailand. Yeah. The locals call them LBHs. Losers back home.
And the phrase is catching like wildfire in Da Nang, which rose to fame in the last few years as the cheapest city in Southeast Asia and has drawn a huge influx of foreign visitors for that reason. The phrase loser back home was explained in a comment on my previous YouTube video about Da Nang. Someone wrote, "In terms of expats, Vietnam has a way of drawing the lower end of society from Western countries. The locals call them losers back home. I mean, why would anyone that's successful in a developed first world country give up their career and move to a developing country?"
I think it's funny because I mean, my whole thing is that I think that's absolutely true. It's terrible to live back home. There's a cost of living crisis back home. And if you move here, you can have a better life, you can have more money, you can have a better house, and you will be higher in social stature. So
wait, so you're like owning it?
100%, yeah.
Wait,
I think,
you're like, I am a loser back home.
Well, I just think it's funny. Like it's a small-minded thing, right? Like, I mean, the shirt says "you jealous" underneath.
Canadian expat Evan Jordan just launched a clothing line with a shirt that says "loser back home."
When I lived in Canada, I had 3 jobs. I was a school teacher, I worked at a bar, and I sometimes even did food delivery on the side. I also like rented out a room, like subletted a room in my house on short-term Airbnb. Like all this was to make extra money because my quality of life in Toronto is really mediocre, making like $80,000 or $100,000 a year. Someone like me who went from like living paycheck to paycheck, having no money, no savings, nothing, to with like a solid budget and plan, I retired early. And, you know, now I just make dividends, have a little bit of a side hustle.
Loser Back Home is also aimed at those seeking a better love life in Da Nang.
The guys who get mocked for being losers back home, it's often because they have a long-term girlfriend, a partner, a wife in Southeast Asia, and other foreigners are judging them with the idea that at home they wouldn't have been able to like date or meet or marry a spouse like that.
But Loser Back Home mostly grew out of resentment for foreigners who are seen as opportunists, benefiting from the local community without showing due respect. Here are a few examples how.
More people, more problems. First, traffic. Some expats ride a bike really crazy and badly. I don't want to talk dirty words, but like an asshole. They cause a lot of accidents.
Then there are some foreigners who eat shirtless in restaurants. One expat wrote, "Am I the only one who thinks it's crap that there are guys who think it's cool to sit topless in a restaurant? Even if some have a nice, well-trained body and therefore think they're the greatest, it's absolutely uncool. In Vietnam, it's generally not common or socially acceptable to sit topless in a restaurant." I talked to several locals and expats in Da Nang to compile several ideas for ways that foreigners can integrate into and give back to the local community. Here's how to not be just a loser back home. As a consumer, that could mean buying from locally owned businesses and maybe not bargaining down to the absolute cheapest that you can buy something for. As an entrepreneur, it could mean forming joint ventures with locals.
I want the Western people, expat community, gonna open up their business for Vietnamese people to join, to be partnership with them. Not many people want to be partner. Not many expat gonna reply my my asking.
Like the first thing you have to do is learn the language. I mean, if you want to be respectful of a culture and be immersed in a culture, you have to learn Tiếng Việt.
For instance, the fellow I told you about, he regularly once a week sponsors an English exchange club for free. I would love to see more American citizens come here and actively seeking out ways to reach out to the victims of Agent Orange. There is Agent Orange, actually 2 of them here, Agent Orange daycare centers here in the Da Nang area, where you see some heartbreaking birth defects. Saving up your recycling, instead of just putting your recycling out for the regular trash pickup, but saving it for one of these older ladies who comes through the neighborhood and picks up every day, and maybe giving them a small tip. If you're in a neighborhood here and you give 1 million Vietnam dong, which is $40, to a local Feed the Poor movement, that's going to be more than any of your Vietnamese neighbors are able to give. There are some expats who get involved in beach cleanup in the Am Thun Mike Beach area.
If you have any other ideas, drop them in the comments below. If you like this video, you might enjoy my other video, breaking down the top 4 ways Da Nang now resembles notorious party island Bali, Indonesia, and whether or not that's a bad thing.